Good morning, Veritas All-Stars. Here's our challenge problem for Tuesday, May 26th, 2020. It's number 4 in your Google Classroom assignment. And we will get started with this. We have this image, which I was able to draw today, so I tried my best. But you can refer to the one on your paper because it's a little more accurate. Just like the lines being a little straighter and things like that. Okay, let's go to A. Find the total volume in cubic feet of the irregular shape below. And part B says find the total volume in cubic yards of the irregular shape below. So I noticed that they're the exact same question, except for this one says in cubic feet. So right now I'm going to put feet cubed, which would be feet times feet times feet to find the volume, because volume has 3 dimensions, length times width times height. So it's going to be in feet for this one, feet times feet times feet. So I'm just going to put cubic feet there now so that I make sure I put it in the right unit. And then I'm going to go to B, find the total volume in cubic yards. So again, volume is length times width times height. So there's going to be yards times yards times yards for this one in cubic yards. So that just means yards times yards times yards. So we're just finding the volume in yards here. We're finding the volume in feet for part A. Other than that, it's the same problem. Okay, so let's start with feet because I noticed that all of these units are in feet. So we'll find it. A is with feet. So we need to know this. It's on your reference sheet. You just need to know to look there, but they will give you this formula on the MCAS. It's volume is length times width times height. So we have 3 dimensions here, just like this is a 3-dimensional object, right? Height, width, and length. So they already gave you a little spot to cut it here. So what we're going to do is find the volume of this big box here, this rectangular prism, and then we're going to find the volume of this rectangular prism, this one here, and then we'll add the 2 of them together to find out the total volume of this irregular shape. All right, so let's start with the one where they give us all 3 dimensions. This one here is 6 from there to there. That's the length. So volume is 6 times, let's find the width. It's wide this much. It gives us the whole thing of 4. And the height is 5. So we're going to start with this side because it gives us all the dimensions. This is all we're using because we cut it here. We're not going all the way to the back because it shows you here is 6 times 4 times 5. And that'll give us the whole volume of there. So you can multiply these in any order, whatever makes sense in your mind. You can do 6 times 4 is 24 and then do that times 5. But my mind immediately goes to 4 times 5 is 20. And then I can do 6 times 20, which is 120. Ready? 20 times 6. 6 times 0 is 0. 6 times 2 is 12, which is 120. So that's easier for me. I can do that in my head. 6 times 2 is 12. And then there's one more 0 to put on the end, 120. So our volume is 120 for this section only. So that's 120, and this is in cubic feet. Feet to the 3rd power, feet times feet times feet. So the volume of this section is 120 cubic feet. Now we got to do a little work to find the volume of this section. They give us 2, so that is the width, is 2. So let's find volume is length times width times height. So we do have the width as being 2. We're not sure about the length and the height yet. Okay, so this is saying that this is 2, yep. And then from here to here is 7. But we're not just using this section because this whole back part here hasn't been used. Since when we cut this here, we only find the volume of here. So we still need to find all this volume up to the very end. So if this part is 7 from here to here, we still need to know how much is this. Which, if you look at this box, it's 4. So this is 4. That means this whole side this way is 4. All along the top is the same 4. So from here to here is 4. Because this is 4, that means this here is 4. And we continue along the same side of the box. This is 4 here. Okay, so altogether it's 7 plus 4 makes this whole length, which is really 7 plus 4, which is 11 feet. So we're going to use 11 feet for the length, 2 feet for the width. So 11 times 2 times, now we got to find the height. So we have the width, We have the length of the whole thing, because we need all of it. We can't just use the 7, so we're not really going to use the 7, so don't get tricked there. And we got to find out how tall is it. What's the height? So you notice that they meet here perfectly, so the height of this is the same as the height of this. So since the height of this one is 5, that means the height of this is 5, and the height of this is all 5. So we are at 5 feet for this height. So 5, if it's 5 high, that means this whole thing is 5 feet high. So that is 5 feet as well. So the dimensions for this in feet are 11, the length, 2 for the width, and 5 for the height. So let's see, 2 times 5 is 10. I'm going to do those ones first. 11 times 10, because 2 times 5 is 10, so I can just quickly get that out of the way. Then we're doing 11 times 10. 11 times 10, we're going to put a 0 here on the end. Or we're going to be taking 11, which is like 11 ones, times 10. We're going to move the decimal place one spot over to the right and put a 0 here, and it becomes 110. Okay? So 11 times 10 is 110, so the volume of this part here is 110. And it's feet cubed, or cubic feet. So now we have this section is 110 plus this section is 120. This is cubic feet and this is cubic feet. So we're doing cubic feet plus cubic feet. 110 plus 120. 0 plus 0 is 0. 2 plus 1 is 3 tens. And 1 plus 1 is 2 hundreds. So we have 230, and cubic feet plus cubic feet is just cubic feet. So in cubic feet, the answer is 230 feet cubed, or 230 cubic feet, because of our volume is always in cubic units, because there's 3 of them. Feet times feet times feet makes feet to the 3rd power. Feet times feet times feet. So part A, 230 cubic feet. Give yourself some snaps if you got that. That took a while. There was a lot of work to do with that. So good job. We've worked hard to get to this position where we're able to do that. Now we're going to find the total volume for part B in cubic yards of the irregular shape below. So we have that the answer is 230 cubic feet. Now we need to find out how many yards that is. So we need to use some conversions here. Okay, so 3 feet equals 1 yard. You need to know that. That's not something they're going to give you on your reference sheet. You need to know that there are 3 feet in 1 yard. So if we're comparing feet to yards, we're going to notice that feet are smaller because you need 3 of them. You're going to have a bigger number of this smaller unit to be equal to 1 of these. Because this unit is bigger, you're going to need a smaller number of them. Just like 1 is smaller than 3. Because feet are a smaller unit, so you're going to need a bigger number of them. Yards are a bigger unit, so you're going to need a smaller number of them. So what we're going to do, we're going from feet, which we have 230 cubic feet. We're going to go to how many cubic yards? And that's what we're solving. So what's important to know is that that number, 230, needs to be bigger than the number of yards, because 3 feet equals 1 yard. So this number of cubic feet needs to be bigger than this number of cubic yards, because yards are a bigger unit, so you need a smaller number of them. Feet are a smaller unit, so you need a bigger number of them. So when we go to find our answer has to be smaller. So if we're going to take 230, we're going to either divide it by 3 or multiply it by 3. But we need to think really, really careful about which one we're doing. There's 3 feet in 1 yard. So if I multiplied times 3, then let's see. If I multiply this feet, 230 times 3, it's going to be a much bigger number. It's going to be up in the 600s. And then that number would be too big because it needs to be smaller than 230. So we're not going to multiply times 3 because this times 3 is much too big. It's 690. And we can't have this be 690 because, like I was saying, bigger unit needs to have a smaller number. And if we did that the wrong way, we would have realized that our 690 is actually bigger. So it's okay to like check carefully and see, does that answer make sense? So that's not a reasonable answer. So what we're going to actually do is divide by 3. There's 3 feet in 1 yard. So to find out how many cubic yards 230 feet is, we're going to divide 230 cubic feet by 3 because there's 3 feet in 1 yard. So we're taking 230 and we're making 3 equal groups. Okay, we can't put 100 into each group because that would be 100, 200, 300. So we can't put any hundreds into those groups. Now we're going to look at it as 23 tens because these hundreds have 10 in each one of them. So that would be 20, right? Because the hundreds place is 10 times bigger than the tens place. So 23 tens is really 230, okay? So 23 tens, we have 23 tens, we're breaking them into, we can't put 10 into each group because that would be 30. We can't put 9 into each group, that would be 27. We can't put 8 tens into each group, that would be 24. So it has to be 7 tens, which are 70 into each group. So we'll put a 7 there. 7 times 3 is 21 tens. 23 minus 21 is 2 tens that we have left because we put 7 tens into each group, which would be 21 tens altogether. And we have 23, so we still have 2 left that we can split up. With 0 ones, that means we have 20 left. We're going to break them into 3 groups. So what number times 3 gets you closest to 20? It's 6. We can only put 6 ones into each of those groups. 6 times 3 is 18, and we still have 2 left over. So we have 76, 76, 76. So those are 3 equal groups, but then we still have 2. I'm going to represent that as 2 wholes, and we're going to cut them up into 3 equal groups. So what we can do is put the remainder becomes the numerator. The divisor, the number we divided by, becomes the denominator. And it's going to be 76 and 2/3 go into each group. Because if we have group 1, we can put 2 of them into there. Then we have group 2, we can put 2 of them into there. And then we have group 3, and we have 2 left to put into there. And then those 2 remaining ones have equally been split up into those 3 groups. And we have a total of 76 and 2/3 in each group. So the answer here for how many cubic yards there are, that was a tough problem, is 76 and 2/3 cubic yards. So then we got to check. Remember I said it's got to be smaller. So if we set our answer is 76 and 2/3, that has to be smaller than the number of feet. Because feet is a smaller unit, you need a bigger number of them. You need more of them to be equal to, this is a bigger unit, you need less of them. You need a smaller amount of them. So 230 is bigger than 76, so we went the right direction, and we are in good shape. That was tough. Sorry, that was a long video. You guys did a good job, though. Give yourself some snaps. How did you do on part B? I want to find out. Let me know how you did. How'd you do on part A? I want to see. I'm excited. All right, have a good day, guys. Take it easy.